Everyone, and welcome to a regular meeting of the Amador County Board of Supervisors for June 9th. The board met in closed session and approved the May 19th, 2026 minutes as presented. We'll call this regular season to order. Would you stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. First item are public matters not on the agenda, discussion items only, no action will be taken. Any person may address the board at this time. However, any matter that requires action may be referred to staff and or committee for a report and possible action at a subsequent board meeting. Please note there's a 3-minute limit, there's a sign-in sheet, and would you please state your name because we are recording it.
Good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Good morning.
Okay. Good morning, Amador County. I'm Angela Shebley, Veteran Service Officer for the county, and I'm just here to encourage Amador County and the veterans with a few little pieces of information and a couple events coming up. So June 12th, which is Friday, is Women Veteran Recognition Day. So please, if you know a woman veteran, take time to say hi. June 14th, the establishment of the U.S. Army. And so that's good to know. Plus Flag Day. So get your flags out and just be patriotic for this coming up season. And of course, I don't know if anyone knows about Coffee for Veterans. That's June 17th. It's the third Wednesday of every month, and all veterans are welcome. It's just a nice networking time, and please come out and have a morning cup of coffee with us. That is at Shauna's Sweets.
Okay.
And then last but not least is the parade on July 3rd in the community. Please come out and just enjoy this time of year and celebrate with all of us. That's all I have for you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Busy time.
Yes.
Anyone else? Any Zoomers?
Not at this time.
All right, if you'd indulge me before we go any farther, we lost one of the great mainstays of Amador County in Frank Alverson. And I'd like to have a moment of silence in his honor. So. Okay, thank you for that. Did I ask about Zoomers? We didn't have any. Okay, we're on to approval of today's agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Supervisor Epperson, a second by Supervisor Brown to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Approval of items on the consent agenda. We have an addendum, which is going to be 4T. And any of them need to be pulled for discussion or any public comment on the consent agenda items? All right, I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to add addendum to 14 and complete the consent. Second.
Right, we had a motion by Supervisor Brown to add 4T and approve the consent as presented. Second by Supervisor Cornell. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We are on to the regular agenda. 2A is Parks and Recreation, a fee waiver request for sons in retirement. Suggested action is pleasure of the board. Glenn or Good morning, fellas.
Good morning, Board. Garrett Linker here. It's going to take the lead.
So
Sons in Retirement, they're a group, a bunch of veterans. They'd like to apply for a fee waiver request because they are renting the Veterans Hall at Pioneer Park. So the decision is up to the board here. So if you need any more information, I can fill you in or anything like that.
And they're here.
Okay.
Before we get too far into this, I had one of the members come up to me last night. Glenn, come over to me. I have to show you something. This is the PDF that they received of what their fees were going to be. I don't think that was correct in the first place.
Yeah, that was not right.
So,
Okay. Can you forward that to me?
yeah, I can, but what I'm just saying is, let's put the fees that you were going to originally charge them.
So that's a small permit application fee of $10. Veterans Hall, for 5 hours would be $125, and then the refundable facility deposit for $250. Grand total of $385. Yeah.
And then it would be $150 per month?
It'd be $125 per month after the
$125 per
one-time
month?
fees. Yeah,
Okay, and that would be the standard fee?
correct, yeah.
And now, what's the waiver portion of this?
The waiver is, they only requested $250. So I'm assuming that's the facility deposit.
Well, would you like to come up and clarify? Because the deposit, what the board has done in the past is the board has required the deposit typically. And then at issue was whether they would waive the application fee, which in this case is $10. And also going forward, we can do one application for a couple years of these monthly meetings, so that's, shouldn't be an issue. But the real fee at issue is the $125 per month, and that covers 5 hours use of the Veterans Hall. So I don't know, you might want to clarify exactly what you want waiver of.
Wait, sir, for the-
Pardon me, sir?
Could you state your name,
My
please?
name's Eddie Garcia. I'm the president of the Chapter 15 Sons in Retirement.
We're recording this meeting, so.
Okay, yes, I understand. We have about 84 members in our chapter. This is a statewide organization, and the chapters are designed to be local for the mainly seniors, the Sons in Retirement. And our chapter has 84 members, 40 veterans in our chapter. And we were requesting, we're a nonprofit organization. We get dues, we pay dues with not very much, once a year. And mainly we operate on that. So we requested, I submitted an application to have our monthly meetings, approximately 2.5 hours. So we requested more time for setting up and cleaning up afterwards. So I submitted an application, but I also submitted a waiver on the deposit, $250 deposit. You know, it's not critical. I just submitted asking for a waiver on that.
So are you looking for a waiver on the deposit?
On the deposit,
Or
not
the fees also?
not the fees, not the application fee or the monthly fee. Not a problem with that. Hundley, we approve that 100%. And the deposit waiver, that's what this is about.
They've been there for a while. If we have any problems, I guess, at all.
I mean, if I was you, I'd be looking for a waiver or partial waiver of the recurring fees rather than deposit.
And in answer to the question, Supervisor Epperson,
Or both.
I believe this is the first time you'd be using the Veterans Halls, so there is no history.
Okay, got it. Okay, that's what I was asking you. Thank you.
We just recently submitted an application to rent every third Tuesday of the month, once a month. We were holding it at another facility. We want to move to the Veterans Hall.
How many veterans do you have, roughly?
40 out of 84 members.
So we're charging the veterans to use the Veterans Hall. I guess there is upkeep, but it's kind of incongruous in my opinion.
This is, I think it'd be a great thing for them to do, to get there. If we could just, I would ask that maybe we could shave it down to $100 per month instead of $125. Yeah, but they've also promised to do cleanup, prep, and do all the rest of the work. So what the county will receive back is in better condition that they received it.
Definitely. We set up, we'll put the tables away and the chairs where they belong. We will clean up and we'll take our garbage home with us.
We do have a trash can here. You don't have to do that like it.
Okay. Okay. I accept that.
Just thinking, I walked a lot of our parks, and Accra had one person dedicated to the parks, and we no longer have somebody dedicated strictly to the parks. And some of them I'm concerned are gonna be reclaimed by the forest. And so I was thinking as we move on with these fee waivers, they maybe include the idea of some sort of volunteer projects that take place. And if you have 80 people there, look around for things that you might be able to do to improve the park, because we don't have the same staff working on them anymore.
As all clubs, we have 84 members. We have about 45 that come to the meetings on average. Not everybody comes, but we're happy to bag our trash, get the bags out of our trash can and take it home.
I'm just saying that as a general thought of some more. I mean, I think the lower ball field was built by people who played softball, and the disc golf course was built by people who played disc golf, and a lot of what we have now that was produced by volunteer work. And so I think we just need to start fostering, rewarding, lauding, promoting volunteerism in our parks.
Along that note, I heard you were talking about maybe Rotary Club. Did you want to bring that back at this meeting, or?
Well, that's one of the places this idea was born, is because they went around the parks and looked for ways to invest in them, and spent thousands actually improving the park. And then they just took a walk around Molly Joyce looking for other projects they could do. And I think that kind of sentiment is I'd like to reward with these waivers. I guess it's in kind. Is that the right way to say it?
Well, I think probably if you want to address that, it probably should be done the meeting after the action.
Okay.
I mean, so maybe it's something we could talk about it and bring back at our next meeting possibly, if you want to. Otherwise, it's a little bit harder.
Yep.
I will say this: it's the action we took trying to bring in some funds to maintain buildings predated some board members. But I struggle with this because I look at some of the community groups that basically nonprofits, and I think our intent was a charge for the hall, which I think Glenn did a great job. But we're charging the nonprofits that are basic community help groups. It's one thing if it's an independent person that's not a nonprofit to charge them. I had a real hard time charging the Girl Scouts, Rotary Club, I think I voted no on that, Sierra Baptist Church, Amador Senior Center, and now we have SERS. And the reason I bring it up, we gave out some $30,000 increases to like one employee more than once, and down the road we're gonna have the same situation. I won't be here, but I hope the board will remember it. And when we look at those increases, think about the groups we're charging. So I have some heartburn with this.
If you want, we could put this item on next week's agenda just for the overarching policy, if you'd like to address that. I mean, you can address this request today, but we can also put that to reconsider.
I'd kind of like to.
What we want to. Okay.
Our meeting's going to be on the 16th of June. That'll be our first meeting there, so we need to know ahead of time so I can get with Garrett and pay the monies that are requested.
But you're okay with a waiver, I mean, you'd be happy with a waiving of the deposit and paying $100 a month? That sounds like a good deal to you?
Not a problem.
I'd make a motion that we do that.
And we're talking about putting on the next agenda an overarching policy that, not related to what, yeah. And I can present some options too that would also streamline, I think, the waiver request and put some other criteria, like I had mentioned in the memo, for example, financial hardship or benefit to the community apart from the event itself. For example, what the Rotary Club is doing. The Rotary Club is doing amazing things in the park, for example. So I'll do that.
We do contribute to helping out on Veterans Day at the cemetery, putting up flags and things like that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your efforts.
Glenn, we did, just to be the devil's advocate, these new fees were never intended to really make money. They were just intended to break even.
That was the intent. It was
That's
just
what I thought.
to cover the cost, but we don't yet know what those actual costs are because it's such a new thing for the county. So we're going to be able, within a year or in a year approximately, we're going to be able to assess and figure out what the actual costs are. But those are the estimated costs. It's intended to cover the estimated cost, not to make any sort of a profit or anything like that.
And that's why we keep asking that everybody pick up after themselves, so we don't have to use staff time to cover it, and then that will keep that cost to a minimum.
So it may be that the Veterans Hall at $100 is gonna be the going rate after a year.
Could be,
Okay,
or it could be more.
yeah, what are you gonna do about that?
Well, we're gonna lock the SERS in at 100, and then they're gonna be grandfathered in.
Isn't that charged,
Just wanted to bring that up.
isn't that by the hour?
Yeah, yes, right now it's $25 an hour, and that's the estimated cost of administrative, janitorial, and facilities maintaining the parks.
So we're saying buy 4, get 1 free. Buy 4 hours, get 1 free. All right,
I like that.
senior discount.
Any public comment on this issue? Zoomers?
No, not at this time.
Logan, you were gonna make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we waive the deposit and reduce the fee to $100 for the use of the Veterans Hall once a month.
I'll second that.
Excuse me. We had a motion by Supervisor Cornell and a second by Supervisor Onetto to waive the deposit fee and set the price at $100 a month for the sons in retirement. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried, 5-0.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right,
Do I need to send this?
please.
Thanks.
All right. 2B, Amador Community Health Improvement Plan Presentation. Information only. Oh, here we have some presenters. Good morning.
Good morning, all. Thank you for having us today. My name is Stacy. I work for Amador County Public Health. I'm a program coordinator, and I'm here with Cole.
I'm Cole Hassan. I'm a data analyst, epidemiologist over at Amador County Public Health.
Very excited to have him and made some of this work a lot easier. So what we're talking about today is our Community Health Improvement Plan. Doesn't look like the whole thing's on the screen. Does that matter? We'll just go through it. So we wanted to give you a top level overview of this exciting work that we've been doing. You might remember about a year ago, we came forward to you guys with our community health assessment. And that's when we went out in the community and really figured out what it was that people were needing and who were the neediest. So from there, we went on and created the CHIP, which is the Community Health Improvement Plan. And with that, came up with a few strategies in how to reach some of our vulnerable population. Joanne Hassan, who is our director, put together a nice little executive summary introducing what the CHIP's focus was on. And again, that's the Community Health Improvement Plan. But 3 crucial things came up when we were working with the community: chronic disease prevention, suicide self-harm prevention, and access to care. Those were the 3 major things that we decided to focus on based on what we got from the community. You can go to the next slide. Acknowledgements. It's super important to realize that a lot of people came together to create this document. We had a steering committee made up internally of public health staffers. The advisory committee were made up of community-based organizations, different community members, and then also local business owners. Then what we're creating is a CHIP review and evaluation committee. That's something to hold us to any promises that we're making in this document to make sure that we're really pushing things forward. Okay, next slide. Cole, why don't you give us a little background on the CHIP?
Yeah, so as you heard, we started out by using the community health assessment, and with that we identified chronic disease prevention, suicide and self-harm prevention, as well as access to care as being our 3 priorities. And we gathered data so that, as you can see, like for chronic disease prevention, you can see that 30% adult obesity, 18% physical activity, and 13% smoking, as well as an 18% excessive alcohol use rate contribute to preventable disease risk within our community. And that means that those percentage points are Amador County residents.
Thank you, Cole. So go ahead and slip to the next slide. We've identified those needs. We went into a little bit more detail. And what you'll notice peppered throughout this presentation is we have little community blurbs at the bottom, little quotes from the community. And then any pictures in here are actually of Amador County as well. So you can switch, there we go. So a lot of what we do is evidence-based, which means there has to be a result for the work that we do. And we do that based on 4 different models. We've got the social determinants of health, social ecological model, diffusion of innovation theory, and health communication theory. All of these help round out the work we do. It seems a little in-depth for sitting here right now, but a copy of this will be available to y'all afterwards so that you can read this more in depth. Okay, next slide. So, logic model. Logic model is an easy way for us to put together what it's going to take, what activities, what's going to be the outcomes of that, and then what are the long-term results. So our inputs, those are the things that we can add. Community data, what we currently do as public health. Then activities. We're best at going out and meeting people where they are. And so that's a lot of our activity base. Outputs, doing workshops, events, screenings. And then we have a new patient navigator program that I can go into detail if you have any questions about. And then the results along the bottom. We have short-term, intermediate, and long-term goals to show impact of this CHIP. Next slide, please. Again, super important as we go through. We're going to just break down these 3 real quick and give you an overview. The first one, chronic disease. We have strategies 1A through 1D. I won't go through them all. This, again, will be available for you. But we wanted to show you on the next slide how those break out. So we took each strategy, developed a key activity to support that strategy, gave it a performance measure, like how well is that doing, and then who is responsible. So there's a real, I can't think of the word. Sorry. So there's accountability. That's what I was looking for, accountability. You can turn the next page. So this just goes through the rest of the strategies. You can see, no, that's fine. And then Cole is going to show us some graphic detail on chronic disease prevention.
Yeah, so as you can see on the top of this page, we have the top mortality rates in Amador County. So number 1 is heart disease. Number 2 is Alzheimer's and other dementias, and then number 3 is stroke. And so that kind of shows the burden of disease within Amador County.
Very good. And it has a description there at the bottom too. Cole kind of lives in a universe where everything sounds very fancy, and it doesn't suit me all the time. So he's kind enough to write out all of these definitions that will be available for you as well. Next slide.
It's not working.
Point it up to the thingy. Oh. This is where we have our intermission.
There we go.
Cole's gonna sing for us.
There we go. And then here we have more charts showing different chronic diseases, as well as access to exercise opportunities, as that's a great way to reduce chronic disease within the community. You can see Amador County is gray, and then the rest of California is blue. And so the first one on the top left is heart disease mortality. You can see that in Amador County, our heart disease mortality rate was more than double in the years 2019 through 2023. And then the top right is access to exercise opportunities, and you can see that we have a lot less access to exercise opportunities within our county compared to the rest of California. And then lastly is the cigarette smoking rate, and you can see that we have a higher cigarette smoking rate than the rest of California.
So all of these things are contributing to chronic disease, and that's what we're showing here. Go ahead, next slide. So our second priority health need was suicide and self-harm prevention. This is new for us. This is something that came over from behavioral health. We're working closely with them to do the prevention piece of the suicide and self-harm. And as it's new for us, we have a few extra strategies because we wanted to make sure that we covered this well. And you can go ahead and turn to the next slide. There we go. Key activities. We want to do things like offer suicide, self-harm prevention education at wellness events. Some of these things may sound simple, but just reaching 2 to 5 people at a time can make a big impact on a community. Next page. So that goes down through E. Again, the last column is the responsible parties. You see there we're working with behavioral health, and then CBO is community-based organizations. Next slide. All right, Cole.
Again, here's some more data. This time it's about suicide and mental health. The first chart on the top left is a chart showing depression rates in 2023 in Amador County compared to the rest of California. And you can see we're a little bit higher, but then the most astounding graph here, I believe, is the suicide mortality rate from 2019 through 2023. You can see that Amador County is about 3 times higher than the rest of California.
Is that
Top right.
the rate of successful efforts?
Yes, that is the mortality rate, yeah. It's deaths. But the rate is per 100,000, so yeah.
You can see why it's become such a big talking point and become super important. And then that last graph is just showing on a survey about poor mental health days, and that shows that it starts from 2014 and goes through 2022, and it shows the increase in poor mental health days for Amador County residents compared to the rest of California.
Are some of these affected by just a lower population so that the numbers look larger?
It could be, yes, but we have about 40,000 people in Amador County, so on average, it will average out anyways.
You believe it averages out?
Yeah.
I have a question. State average is about 38.6 years of age for a person. Amador County's 49.7. Do you ever look at the correlation, like how many of the suicides are young versus old?
Yes, but I can't really, some of that data you can't access because the deaths are lower than 10, we can't give out that data or really see it.
Well,
I
a
just,
lot
I
of,
just wonder if that could be part of a factor too, because
oh, okay.
I know some old people, and some of you see them, hey, their husband or wife has died, and they got health problems, and they're saying, you know, even people I've known are kind of like, they're not real happy in life, and they kind of want to, they're hoping God comes and takes them, and sometimes they kind of, I think the help matters in their own way.
Yeah, age is definitely a risk factor for suicide and self-harm, both being young and also being elderly.
I think I think it'd be a factor in a lot of these numbers.
Yes, it could, since we have such a high population. Thank you for bringing that up. It's an important indicator.
Yeah, it's not really talked about in the study at all much.
Well, let's go on to access to care. Let's see if we get a little closer. So what we did was do the 3 strategies for access to care, and the big thing is to promote our patient navigator program. And what that is, it's a staff member that works here and at Sutter Hospital, helps folks that have a difficult time getting appointments, getting them in the door to a doctor in time. And so let's go ahead and switch to the next.
I think it'd be nice if there's a footnote somewhere just acknowledging the age of
Yes.
the county, how it could be a factor in some of these numbers.
Completely agreed. I have that written down.
Okay, thank you.
This is our first chip too. We haven't done one before, so this is kind of our baseline. We're doing the best that we can with what we've got to really reach the people that need us the most. So next. Again, it's just a continuation on of the strategies and key activities, but the chart at the bottom is really interesting. And Cole, will you go over that?
Yeah, so that chart is an area deprivation index, and it shows different areas of Amador County. So dark green means that an area has less access to care, and light green means that there's more access to care. And as you can see in upcountry, it's darker green, which means that there is less access to care.
Most of that dark green is Sierra Pacific Industries or National Forest.
Yeah, but it's taking into account the population. It's not
Okay.
like there's just,
Okay,
it's just the census tracts is how that's tracked.
okay.
Very good. Okay, next. So just in conclusion, we've put together a lot of strategies and worked with a lot of folks in the community, and we just wanted to push this forward so that you could see what a lot of the public health initiatives are. The ending parts are just the appendix. We've got some abbreviation sheets in case you can't follow those. I still have a hard time. And then some of the advisory committee meetings we went through per event in the appendix, and so you could read that too. Was there any other questions or anything that we can answer or help? We sure appreciate the time. Thank you so much for letting us share our good work. Yeah,
I got one question.
of course.
Do you look at autism in is that part of the study, or?
We didn't particularly look at autism for the CHIP, but we have programs at Public Health that work with children with special needs.
'Cause it's surprising how many people I talk to, and I don't think all the mothers and grandmothers and fathers are all wrong or liars, but a lot of people seem to think there's a correlation between childhood vaccines and autism. It's people I talk to say, hey, this happened to my friend or my child, and it's something, maybe it's beyond our scope as far as your agency, our agency, but it's something I think we need to really look at.
Well, I know we get reports anytime someone has a bad reaction to immunization, and so we can track it that way. And there hasn't been anything come up repeatedly that shows any kind of correlation between the vaccines and autism. But, you know, it doesn't mean that these people aren't experiencing something. It's just not showing up in the numbers.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Any questions from the supervisors? Any public comment? Zoomers?
Not at this time.
All right, well, thank you for your hard work, and
We appreciate the time. Thank you.
yeah, please.
That wasn't too painful, was it?
No.
Good.
All right. 2C is the second amendment to the interlocal agreement between the regions of UCCE, Amador County, Calaveras, El Dorado, and Tuolumne County for the provision of the UCCE program to the county partnership. And I see we have
Somebody set the plate real quick. You can come on up, Perry. This is the second renewal. What was it, 12 years ago, 14 years ago? All the UCC employees used to be county employees. And there was a shift. We were the very first consortium. Scott Oneto led that charge. And we shifted all that function to the UCCE and became, rather than just Amador County's UCCE, it became was it 4 counties that we have together. So this is just a continued agreement. So any comments or questions or anything you have for Ariel?
good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you. Well, thank you, Chuck, for that introduction. And as he mentioned, we've had this agreement in place. I believe it was 2016-ish when the first agreement went into place. It allowed us to streamline our opportunities across the 4 counties that we call the Central Sierra. So as Chuck mentioned, it's Amador, of course, El Dorado, Calaveras, and Tuolumne. So that gives us an opportunity to leverage our resources and opportunities to better support this county as well as the other 3 as well. In particular, that means that I don't have to be a department head in 4 counties. I get to do it just for 1 unit. Saves me a lot of time, a lot of resources. It allows us to take what you're providing us and be able to build our programs in a way that feels productive for not only you, but also can help support our neighbors nearby and help us all live as a community here in the Central Sierra. So happy to answer any questions as well.
Supervisors, any questions?
I have one. One of your new scientists is, from what I gather, his job's to help indigenous people deal with natural disasters.
That's correct.
So my question is, I mean, we're gonna have to change the name of Pine Grove to Broom Grove. We have invasive species. Those are issues that are affecting our ranchers, and our local indigenous people might be the champions of natural disaster. Like, they'll empty out their entire hotel of paying customers and put people who have been evacuated. Like, they're at the forefront of every natural disaster we have, not to mention they also rebuilt all of our parks. I'm just wondering if we have the opportunity to focus some of this expenditure for all these new scientists onto things maybe more locally pressing.
That's a great question, and it does bring up sort of the broader landscape of our funding that we've mentioned earlier in some of our other presentations. And as a reminder, our staff scientists, our advisors, they are all funded through state funds. So that gives us an opportunity to leverage funds from the University of California to help provide support here in the communities.
Just to step in real quick, so 62% of our property taxes goes towards education and that the state uses, so it's still Amador County's funds.
Absolutely. And to bring it back to that particular advisor, while his title is Indigenous Disaster Resilience, he serves the clientele of all 4 counties, not limited. There's nothing saying he only serves the tribe. So he does also support disaster resilience across other communities, and he is still building his portfolio. And I think this is an opportunity then to think of our MCP Advisory Council, which is included in the amendment, and using that group's expertise and knowledge and how we can support Amador County in a way that makes sense for him to do his science, his job title, but also serve the other communities that we have here as well.
One other question. I brought it up last time, and the only reason I'm bringing it up is because we only get 30 cents on the dollar from our property taxes, and with that 30 cents, we have to pay for roads and records and parks and public works and safety and surveying, and we're now using some of that little pittance that we get left to go towards subsidizing the rent for education. And we can be very pro-education, but I think we're kind of forcing our people to pay 2 to 3 times for the same thing. So I'm just gonna ask you again if we can see if we can sort of cover the cost of, I think you guys are using about 2,000 square feet now, and originally you had, what, 1 or 2 employees, and now you have, I don't know how many, so it's just taking up a lot of our space.
And that I will look into for you, Supervisor.
Sorry, I don't mean to pick on you.
No, that's okay. And I think, as we've mentioned before, I'm very excited to be here in this role and to continue to learn from all of you. We have the opportunity to start thinking about how we can build on our events in a way that also perhaps fundraises to offset some of those costs. But I will look to the MCP Advisory Council and Committee to help support in some of that decision-making so that we can figure out how to work together to solve these problems.
I would concur with what Logan says. I mean, I'd give you guys a 50% increase in funding if you get rid of like star thistle and some of those other noxious weeds. What's that?
Tree of Heaven.
Yeah.
Well, that's manageable, but I mean, I'm like star thistle and you got that Scotch broom up country that's really
Well, around 2,000 to 3,000 feet, it looks like the barbarian hordes. You look out your window every day and it's gaining ground, it's heading towards your house. I can hear it growing. It has pretty flowers for like 2 weeks, so I have to not tear it out during that specific time, according to certain people in my household. But
some people plant that stuff.
that's why they quit tearing it out. Yeah.
Any
It's
public
also very-
comment?
It's also very flammable.
Zoomers?
No, not at this time.
All right. The action is to approve this second amendment, so bring it back to the board.
So moved.
Second.
Is that Dan with
Yes,
the
sir.
motion by Supervisor Epperson, second by Supervisor Oneto?
Other way around.
Other way around.
Other way around, okay. Oneto and Epperson.
There you go.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Nice to
Thank
see
you,
you again.
gentlemen.
Back.
Yeah, that's 3 times this year, isn't it?
Yeah, record.
Not that I'm keeping score, but. All right, 2D is fiscal year 26-27 Senate Bill SB1 Resolution and Project List Adoption. The action is to adopt the fiscal year for fiscal year 26-27 and Exhibit A, Project List 2. Direct staff to submit project lists and supporting documentation to California Transportation Commission by July 1, 2026. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff Chrisman, Public Works. Pat, you just kind of nailed it all. So we do have to submit this to SB1. We're getting an estimated 2.7 million. Kind of broke it down for you guys. If you want me to go through it all, I can.
I just had a question. If we put something on there and it falls apart, can we take it off the next year, or does it,
Yeah, absolutely. So on this,
like it loses funding, or the Pine Grove project comes to mind?
yeah, that's a different kind of funding.
Yeah,
But yeah, so this one we did leave out culverts and striping. We have money from the past few years to cover culverts and striping, so maybe
Okay.
next year come back on. We do have a striping project in the works. Same with culverts. It's in a PS&E package right now.
Yeah, we talked about that because people like the striping.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is not set in stone. This is our plan, but we can change the plan. So,
Okay.
we
Well, It
just,
seems to be very
yes,
generic,
that would be a better.
as it's written now, that, we can turn any direction we want. Is that true?
Correct.
but it would have to be done through a different resolution of the board. So, this is just our public acknowledgement of what we're doing, and then we submit it to the state, but we are able to change it however we want.
As far as that, $800,000 for medium heavy-duty vehicles, that could include a grader that we talked about, like a 6x6.
Yeah, correct. It's kind of listed out there on the bottom, the 3 trucks and that 1985 cat grader that's missing 3rd and 5th gear.
I have to ask, because I hear listen to CARB, and I mean, none of this is battery powered, I would assume. I don't think it's possible, but
No, I don't think they're quite there on the battery power for equipment yet.
they're not. But call all carb compliant and all that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was talking to the case dealer the other day, and he said their backhoe will last 8 hours, and then you have to charge it. So I'm not really sure.
According to the carb, you just need to plan better.
Yeah.
Quote.
Diesel generator charge it, I guess.
How long does it take to charge?
I think 12 hours.
Jeez, oh my gosh.
Yeah, with the diesel generator.
With the diesel generator.
2034 is coming, right?
Any, I gotta put for the upcountry, any thoughts on a snow blower or anything to that effect? I mean, I know the grader will be a great aspect, but
Yeah, we're starting with the grader. We did rent that snow blower for skid steer this past year.
okay.
So I do have that kind of in there within that 800,000 for smaller attachments and equipment.
So to rent it during the season,
Yeah, or if you guys end up approving to purchase one, they're roughly about 17,000
For an attachment.
for our skid steer. Yeah,
How much?
17,000 I believe it was roughly.
It probably doesn't have the horsepower or the muscle that old snow blower.
No, absolutely not. But it did widen our roads during that last storm and got us 2 cars going. So
and we didn't blow any screen doors off of homes?
not that I know of.
No, I will say, just for people listening, we had a very good working snow blower, and your California Air Resources Board says we have to get rid of it. Runs good, don't use it often, so kind of a pet
What do
peeve
we
of
do,
mine.
scrap that?
What's
No,
that?
It's on the surplus list, I believe. So if you live in Nevada,
So some other states smarter than California will get a nice snow blower, cheap.
Saving us from ourselves.
thank you for putting this together, Jeff.
there
Any
any chance
public comment on this?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna make, no,
Okay.
public comment sounds great.
Zoomers?
Not at this time.
All right. Jeff, you're doing a hell of a good job.
Thanks, Pat.
I was just
You know-
gonna ask if we can get you in a tie next time.
I lost my hat. That's a lot big ass.
Okay. Just misery loves company, so.
All right, we'll bring it back to the board. We need to adopt the resolution.
So move?
Second.
All right, we had a motion by Supervisor Brown and a second by Supervisor Epperson to adopt resolution for fiscal year 26-27 SB1 and Exhibit A, Project List 2, and turn it in to the California Transportation Commission by July 1, 2026.
That's it. Thank you, guys.
All in
Actually,
favor?
One more
Eric, can I
thing.
just ask one simple question? As we're talking about the grader, are we gonna be able to get that before this next winter?
Yes,
Okay,
No problem.
no problem.
that's the most important thing.
Okay.
One more thing
Question.
too,
Oh.
ditches, I know you're doing all you can do, but clean ditches.
We're getting there. We're
Yeah.
paving right now. This week we're paving, and then when we're not paving, we'll get ditches and brushing.
Appreciate your efforts, you're doing
Yeah,
a commendable job.
so we're back to the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. 2E, Administrative Agency, discussion and possible action relative to adoption of the fiscal year 26-27 recommended budget. Seems like we've been talking about this for months.
Supervisors, this is just one more step in the budget process. So this is our best guess at this point going forward. Approval of this will allow us to start spending money after July 1st while we close out the current fiscal year, the 25-26. Then 26-27 gets in motion, and then we will bring final budget back either late August or September. So what there have been a number of significant cuts that we asked from the department heads that Public Safety brought in their 5% as requested. There have been a number of other cuts. Some things have gotten better, some things have gotten worse. What you're seeing in front of you is our best estimate for where we are going forward. Our carryover, we're projecting at $1.3 million less than the previous years, which partially led to that whole $3 million deficit we had when we started this whole process. Actually, it was larger. So since we put the brakes on spending, our carryover has grown. So we are still projecting it down from last year's. Next year's budget is still, we're probably going to be facing the same problem, and we'll be discussing what's going wrong. PERS will go up again. Liability insurance will go up again. The costs that the state keeps pushing to the counties will continue to rise too. The state is in a mode right now of extraordinarily backpedaling on things that they've told us to do. Particularly over in the Health and Human Services building.
Are they backpedaling on funding or what they're requiring us to do?
They're doing both. A good example is the 24/7 crisis care that behavioral health is geared up for, and we started gearing up for that, and they said they'd pay for it, and of course that's a major thing to gear up for. So and they chastised us pretty heartily for not having staff ready to go 24/7. And this proposed budget from the state next year has a $0 contribution from the state to pay for that, even though they assured us that they would cover it all. Then they also took out the requirement. So our path ended up being the most shrewd as far as spending over there. That doesn't impact the general fund, but it's just a good example of what the state's doing. They've done the same thing with APS, where they told us to go gear up, and then they gave us zero money, even though they promised us. It's all up and down the.
Gearing up costs money, though.
Gearing up, hiring staff, yes. And fortunately, we were lagging behind what they told us to do, so we never got to the point where once they pull the rug out from underneath us, we have to go cut staff, which we don't. The HR1 stuff we are still looking at and trying to grasp. The state's still trying to figure out where that's going to go, but we're trying to minimize those costs. They could spread out into the general fund. We will do everything we can to avoid that. So there's just a lot coming down the road at us right now. I'm confident in this budget. I'm confident in what we've put forth here, that we will not have significant changes between this budget and the final budget. But it's entirely possible that there could be some tweaks. As it is right now, there are no layoffs, no significant changes to what we've offered. We did have one layoff we executed in Public Works. It was more of a reorganization. But other than that, do you have any questions for me?
Do you have any good news?
It's not a good time right now in California for counties. They keep throwing us curveball after curveball, and it's tough to keep up.
So my question is, we had the cuts, but there weren't any substantive structural changes, so you fear that next year we're right back to where we started?
That is correct, yeah. We're still working in a structural deficit, which is why that carryover is going down. And so next year's, what we're gonna have to figure out is, do we wanna just bite the bullet and take that carryover basically down to zero and do the cuts associated with that, or do we wanna keep trickling down like we are right now? And that's a question for the board we'll be talking about in the future.
I know one thing I've been looking at with some of the agencies that I'm on, the JPAs and whatnot, is that if you look at their budgets, a lot of money they spend on online purchases, like a lot. And I've investigated with AGCA, looking at what they spend with our pre-kindergarten programs. It's just a ton. I even talked to Amazon representatives at the last CSAC meeting, was asking them, is there a way that when we purchase stuff that we have a point of sale in our county? Because that's what's killing us. When we look at our sales tax revenues is flat, and I don't think we're spending less money according to the statistics, statewide. But I just was asking around, do we have a spending policy for our departments that we gather all this state and federal money, but then we spend it elsewhere, and that sales tax revenue just leaves? I mean, if we can spend it more here, I mean, it's not a ton of money, but it is some money. It would at least ease that burden a little bit, I would hope.
Online purchases are supposed to be coming back.
I know, that's what I'm curious if that, because I don't know how that formula works, if it's actually by zip code or how they actually execute that. But I just see a lot of stuff that's being, and what it really does, the bigger problem, honestly, is not just that we're spending elsewhere, it's just that we're not spending locally. And that money gets cycled one time as opposed to being spending in the community where it's cycled, they say 3 or 4 times. And it's hard to get that mentality, because it's just, I mean, I shop as locally as possible. There's a lot of things I just can't find, and then I'm stuck with going elsewhere. Anyway, it's just one kind of angle to look at it. How do we actually encourage our people to really dig in a little bit and justify? Because there's ways that we can purchase things sometimes that are, and you can have a local preference or whatever you call it, but just one little angle of the situation.
Can I go back to your previous statement? You said either, basically it sounded like you said we either slowly pull the Band-Aid off or we rip it off.
Yes.
So what are the pros and cons to those 2 options?
Well, if we were to, say in the next year's budget, we go and we say, we're gonna assume the carryover is 0. Everybody spends every penny that has been allocated. Then that will pretty much eliminate our structural deficit. But at the same time, will necessitate, basically $3 million cut. The contingencies would basically carry over from one, but then that would be next year's contingency. Our expenditures would match our revenues, and but to get there, our budgeting needs to be tighter. And because right now, if you've got a $4.7 million carryover, which is what we've got right now, that means that you've got, well, say $1 million of that is unspent contingency. You've got $3.7 million that you budgeted that you didn't spend. And while that's still good and admirable, that just because something's been budgeted, you don't need to go spend it. That's not that common in government these days. But if we start doing that, the use it or lose it mentality will show up real fast. And then, 1st of June, people realize they have budget left over, and then they go run and spend it. That's very dangerous and wasteful. And we've done a very good job of trying to avoid that mentality around here, and which is why we can carry over a $4.7 million carryover. But that the downside to the big carryover is that it's subject to ups and downs, and it's tough to budget consistently when you have ups and downs, if that makes sense.
But that carryover is also funding next year's budget increases to a certain degree.
It is. Well, it's funding next year's budget. It's not because that's actually shrinking. This year was 4.7. Last year was over 6. So it's shrinking, and so next year it'll probably be down around 3. It should be somewhere around 1 to 2 a year, and which is where it will eventually level back out. The question is, do we want to just jump to that point now and then make the cuts, or do we make smaller cuts each year and get there? That's the question. We've been here before where that's been drawing down, but at the same time, our revenues, property taxes were going up, sales taxes were going up, so that kind of softens the blow. Here, we're not seeing that. Sales taxes are just flat, and property taxes are still going up, but going down up at a lesser rate. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too far in the weeds in this either, but it's like, I think, you know, we look at it from both sides. I mean, we also need to look at revenue generation. I think that's kind of we've lost the mill, obviously. We've got some stuff kind of, you know, nipping around the edges that may or may not go, but it's how do we increase our economy in the county? I mean, and how much does that impact the bottom line as far as we're concerned? I mean, there's a lot of things, and Logan's addressed it before, hiring outside agencies to come in and do our work, those kinds of things. How do we bring that stuff more in our county so we glean the revenue and have the employees here so we, you know, it's just, I know it's a larger issue, obviously, but I think we need to keep that in the back of our minds, that what are we doing to increase what we need to survive here? That's.
Well, I think in all of my experience, the best thing we can do is make ourselves open to business. And if you wanna develop something, our building department, our planning department, we're all ready and open to discuss whatever it is you want to do, and to make it possible. But as far as going out and, you know, recruiting people, recruiting businesses, or offering you know, some sort of property tax break or anything like that, we've never chased that down. That's something that gets risky.
The problem I see is you have a lot of people trying to get out of California, businesses, so why would they come here?
The state as a whole is contracting, correct? Yeah. And it's tough, but we are open for business. I think as Supervisor Arnetto referred to, there's just not a lot of people that want to come here to do business here. That there are a lot of geographical restrictions, transportation-wise. We don't have the big access, but we've got to find the businesses that are looking for what we have to offer.
Sorry, I want to get off too much on a tangent, but.
I think too, our building department is, when I first came on board, people hated it. I mean, people said, I'm never building another damn thing in this county. I heard that many times. They're very helpful now. I mean, so that's not a problem there.
Chuck, you said that the CalPERS was gonna go up. Aren't we reaching that 3-year window where they've actually made money? So it's gonna go up, but just go up less?
That's correct, yeah. I think they're projecting $300,000 for next year, but it will go up. It won't come back down yet. Theoretically.
Now, is that on top of the 5 that went up?
Yeah,
already?
that's beyond where it is this year. It'll be $300,000 more. Now, that includes the non-general funded departments as well, but it will still be going up. It's not gonna come down. Theoretically, it would come back down once that unfunded liability gets to 0, which keeps going up. But if that were to theoretically go to 0, all we would have to pay for is the normal cost. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. So.
I can't figure out the stock
That it
market.
was like a 5-year, that we're coming into that where it at least flattens out.
Yeah, it's starting to come to where it's going to flatten out.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
All right.
year after next, maybe. We'll see. I haven't seen.
Something will come up.
What I can't figure out, the stock market's been going up like nobody's business, and we still keep paying more to CalPERS. Something wrong there.
Miracle.
Their investment strategy is not what you would consider typical.
I think there might be some malfeasance going on there.
There's not one financial planner on the board, elected board. Not one.
Of CalPERS.
Yeah.
Seems like a good.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's a cousin of somebody and a nephew of this guy. We had a Chinese guy for 3 years.
Chinese national.
Yeah,
He didn't do very well neither.
imagine that. So anyway, any other questions? Other than that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln? Any public comment on the budget?
Good afternoon, Jamie Lebenko,
Afternoon.
District 5. I had a conversation a couple months ago with a supervisor from Stanislaus County, and he said in Stanislaus they had a no backfill policy for state programs. I wish I would have tracked more of exactly what that meant, but essentially he was saying that when the state programs are pushed down to their county, if the funding goes away or the funding doesn't arrive, they don't backfill any of it, which I assume means that there's probably layoffs associated with those decisions, but it's a policy that they have in place. And I'm curious if there could be a similar policy that doesn't require us to gear up, like Logan just asked, or Supervisor Carnell just asked, that would require us not to gear up for those programs until the funding was received.
Well, those are all HHS programs. They're all paid for out of realignment, so they're not paid for out of the general fund. So they don't hit the general fund, but that's the big push from the state is always they expect us to use general fund to fund the realignment, both behavioral health, social services, and the health department. We have consistently resisted that we do not use any general funds for those departments. So even though I was talking about gearing up and whatnot, that was all still contained within those realignment departments. And they were telling us that realignment's going to swell so that we can go hire all these people. The good news is that we didn't hire all those people, and we aren't disrupting all their lives by hiring them and then laying them off. I think we can do neither, and now with what way the state's going. But I was using that more of an example than a real claim to what our fiscal issues are right now. But
Okay, thank you.
And I think historically, you've been very cautious about hiring somebody that may have to be laid off.
Yes, I think we all want to avoid that because it's not fair to, it's terrible for both the employees who are still here and the employees who have to go.
Also, didn't you have to pay unemployment?
Yeah, and unemployment.
That's a biggie.
Not to mention that. Although the costs for there are less now because there was a time when the benefits kept getting extended, and it's not the case now.
But that's not primarily a fiscal decision, that's a human decision.
Yes, yeah.
Any other public comment? Any Zoomers?
No, not at this time.
All right, we'll bring it back to the board.
I'll move its adoption, the budget's adoption.
I'll second that.
All right, we had a motion by Supervisor Epperson, a second by Supervisor Carnell to adopt the fiscal year 26-27 recommended budget. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And to staff and all who worked on the budget, good work. It was a struggle, but
Yeah, I neglected to say thanks to Kim.
I
Kim
saw
did
her
an
out there.
excellent
so-
Kim.
job on that, so, sorry about that, but yes, it's been a challenging year.
Okay, 2F is review and possible approval of the May 19th, 2026 Board of Supervisors meeting minutes. Any corrections, changes?
Move to approve?
I'll second.
Any public comment on the minutes? Seeing none, hearing none, it was a motion by Supervisor Brown and a second by Supervisor Cornell to approve the minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
And real quick, before you adjourn, I also neglected to say thank you to Tacey Oneto, who helped us so much
Oh,
with
yeah.
the budget as well. So you can throw that back in the item to go.
All right, we are going to adjourn until 10:30 when we have public hearings, and we're going to reconvene as the Board of Governors for the In-Home Supportive Services Public Authority of Amador County.
So you can jump, that's set for 10:15. Mr. Chairman, do you have someone who has a question?
Yes, sir. Did you miss it under public comment, sir? Could you come to the podium? We've got a few minutes before was it 10:15? I'll get a little ahead of ourselves anyway. I apologize if I missed you.
Basically, I own an airplane hangar and can't pass physical anymore, so I can't fly. I did 55 years of accident-free flying, 29 military and civilian, 55. I'm turn 80 in a couple of months, and I paid taxes, and I paid ground lease for 20 years on the hangar here in Jackson. Not a problem. So the ground lease expires in less than 13 years, in 2039. And what I'm requesting is it be reset to 30 years after I sell it to the fellow who wants to buy it. He's made it clear that without the 30 years, he can't afford to buy the hangar. And so what I want to do is have you guys reset the 30-year ground lease. You've had the option to buy the hangar at my price for years, but yeah, you don't, that's okay. And I just need to reset the 30-year ground lease, that's all. Because you can change it if you want to. You don't, there's nothing specific. If you said that we want that hangar, you just change it.
And the GSA's got this item, and they'll bring it back to you.
Oh, okay, so it'll come before us.
Yes.
All right, well, we got the process going to look at that, okay.
Yep.
So we are aware of it. We just
So
haven't got to the podium yet.
I'd like to reset it at 30 years so I can resell the hangar. And like I say, I've paid taxes for 20 years and ground lease for 20 years. Without complaint. But now I want to sell, it's a large portion of my net worth is that hangar. So I need to sell it for the money for my wife and I,
Okay,
and buy toys with it.
So GSA will be, have you talked to anybody from the General Services?
I did everything, military, civilian, crop dust.
No, have you talked to our General Services Department?
Not yet, I've been told about it.
Okay, and that's where you should go, and you'll negotiate that new lease, and it will come to the board.
I was told about them recently.
Maybe give us your phone number, contact, so we can reach out to it.
I think we've got it, yeah.
Do we? Okay.
You'll have to forgive me, I'm a little hard of hearing, I didn't hear what you said.
I was just saying, we want to have your contact information so we can reach out to you, but Mr. Eiley says he thinks we have your information. And did you sign in for the record too, if you could, please? There's a sheet up there. Sign in.
Oh.
And I sympathize. I run too many chainsaws.
Huh?
Huh?
Thank you.
the T. All right, now we will adjourn the supervisors meeting till 10:30, and we'll Board of Governors meeting at 10:15. And we only have, adopt the budget as the agenda.
That's it. That's the long and the short of that meeting. I think you can probably get it done in less than 30 seconds.
All right. Yeah, we're on. So this is just procedural. Oh, she's here. Oh, good,
I
okay.
thought you weren't going to be here today.
I didn't think I was going to be here.
Missed
Yeah,
us.
that's why I was
By a
surprised
miracle.
to see you. Go
By a
ahead.
miracle. Lorraine Damiano with the Public Authority Department. Good morning.
Morning.
I know you probably need to call to order some stuff, but this is probably going to be a hard sell to follow after hearing the grim news that Chuck just delivered. But my allocation is straight from Fed and state, no general funds.
No general funds, but they are still wrestling with shifting some of the IHSS costs to the counties
Yes.
that we will take out of social services, which is good for the general fund, bad for social services. So,
All right. Well, Supervisor, we have the budget in front of us. Any questions?
Governors.
Governor,
I'm still not used to that after 10 years. I still say supervisors. And I hope my little bullet points helped kind of let you know the direction of where we were going and what we were going to be able to give back to the general fund with not billing social services and hopefully get some additional space to take the health and human service cost off of your guys' plate too out of the general fund.
Appreciate that.
and we did negotiate a raise for the employees of IHSS, which is the providers. IHSS is truly unusual in terms of how the providers are employed. They're paid by Lorraine's fund, but they are all technically reporting directly to those that they provide for. So it's a bit unusual, but we did get them, they are only paid a bit above minimum wage, and it is,
But they got a $1 raise this year,
they did.
Correct.
and we're thankful for $1.
And they're thankful. I hear it every day. They're very fortunate to work here in Amador County and have you guys as their Board of Supervisors. Very happy with the outcome, so thank you.
Are a lot of them family members too?
Probably 67% are family members. Yeah.
all right, any more questions? Not, any public comment for the governors? Zoomers? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll bring it back to the question, are we gonna adopt this budget as presented?
I'll make a motion that we adopt this budget as presented. Second?
We had a motion by Governor Carnell and a second by Governor Brown to adopt the,
Minutes too?
what?
Minutes? Gotta approve the minutes, I think.
Yeah, we'll do that, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Motion carried. Other item is to adopt the minutes.
So moved.
All right, we had a motion by Governor Oneto and a second by Governor Epperson to approve the minutes of the last meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And with this, the Board of Governors is adjourned.
That was the shortest term of governor I've ever had.
And thank you to Lorraine too, so.
Thanks,
Yeah.
You're welcome. Hopefully the information I put in the packets gives you what you need to make these quick, because I know your time
Yeah.
is very valuable, so thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day today.
All right. Now we'll take a 11-minute break and reconvene for public hearings at 10:30.
What are we in
Order at 10:30, we're going to start our public hearing. Excuse me. The first one is 3A, Surveying Department. Steve, I see you're here. Are you the presenter for that? We'll open this public hearing.
Steve Zanetta, interim county surveyor. See, a few months ago, the house came in, and I guess they saw Mr. Jones putting up a street sign with a road name, and they had not been informed that the street that they accessed their house off of was named. I looked back through the records and found that Mr. Jones had come in, applied for new addresses, and I don't know if he was instructed by the department to name the road, or if he just came in and requested a road name. There's no information on that on the file, but anyway, he proposed Bright Feather Road as a road name. It went through a year ago this past January and was approved by the board. About that time, the house came in saying they were not notified of the road name. Their address also was not changed to comply with code as far as the new road name goes. So they asked that the name kind of be removed. And I said, well, you would have to apply to rename the road. I mean, we can't, the board has approved it, that's the road name. So that's kind of how we got to this situation we're at right now.
Okay. So do we have the people here to?
Yes.
You want to come and speak to this?
Oh, good morning. I don't know where to start. I don't know the protocol. My name is Gary Howe.
Perfect.
And we live at 9425 Highway 88, West Highway 88. We lived there for 50 years. And it's hard to believe that we're in a year and a half on this journey. And to our surprise, but anyways, about a year and a half ago, Mr. Jones texted my wife and wanted to know her thoughts about, his thoughts about, it impressed his girlfriend to name the back road Bright Feather Road, which was her Indian name, according to him. She expressed interest in it, said, well, maybe we should get together and discuss this. Maybe we can reach a compromise. No more contact for over a year, until my daughter came to dinner one night in December of this last December of 25, on the week of the 16th, and she says, Dad, why is there a sign nailed on top of the stop sign at the end of the property where you come off the highway, and it says Bright Feather Road? I don't know. So the wife texts him again, and he did say he put it up, and to his surprise, that the board had agreed with him to rename the road. She, how can that be? And he said, well, it's a done deal. I got a letter from the board. She says, well, we were never notified. And he said, well, I'm sure you were. He said, matter of fact, I think your neighbor was notified also. We weren't. I can guarantee we weren't. And since then, here a couple of weeks ago, I talked to the girlfriend of the neighbor and him. They weren't notified. I don't believe anybody was notified. So in passing, usually the only time that we really communicate is when I'm working on the back road, weeding the road or water mowing, and discuss it to him. And like I said, I think it angered me because of disrespect. We've been there that long, 50 years, and he's been there about 7 years, and never really wanted to get together and discuss it. But most surprisingly is how the board reached that decision without our respect to our rights, because I was told, well, he had a right. Well, yeah, he's got a right, but how about our rights? How about the people involved, other people? There's four houses on that section of property, and his being one. And, of course, the back ranch, it's over 500 acres. And, anyways, without notification, I don't know what the protocol follows that, other than told that we maybe should file our own request for the back road. And in this time, for about a month ago, even the gal that delivers the mail down there pulled in and my driveway, and she says, where would you want your mailbox? And I said, pardon me? Where do you want your mailbox? I said, we have a P.O. box for the last 50 years. Why would I? And she informed me, well, they're going to be a mailbox is put in. She had a conversation with Mr. Jones, and it sounds like it got a little heated up because it sounded like he wanted where he wanted to put it, and she assured him it didn't happen that way. She informed me that she was going to go up and paint the road where the mailboxes do need to be put in, and at that time, since then, Mr. Jones has put in his own mailbox. I'm not sure if I'm leaving out anything right here. I'm not sure, unless you have questions that you wanted to, that's pretty much my angle on this thing. Just kind of confused how we got here. And I'm not sure where we go from here, so I accept their.
Is the back road the original name, sir?
Well, the back road is, from my understanding, for 50 years, we've always referred it to back road. My friends, my relatives, we've always, even the gal that delivers the mail, I've always referred to it, the back road. She's even delivered a couple of letters over the years, even though we got a P.O. box, coming across, and her carry with our name on it. She recognized the name and knew where we lived, and she has dropped the mail off a time or two. When we first moved down there, I know he says he has a hard time getting pizza delivery. I could care less. I've been there 50 years. When we moved down there, I had two little ones. We couldn't even get phone service. And, of course, as modern times now, everybody has a phone, even I do. I mean, even though I don't barely know how to use it, but I've got one. So it seems like over the years, things got a little easier. We have medication delivered by UPS and over the years of different, and it hasn't been a problem. The early years, yes, but this day and age, no. So, like I said, I think what bothers me more, not so much as the name, as the disrespect of the time and the courtesy being a neighbor. Why wouldn't you discuss it? Why weren't you tell us you're going to bring it to the board? Why were you notified that there was going to be a meeting so we could express our feelings on it? And that's why we request and put in a request for our own. So.
Any other supervisors have questions?
I just hate neighbor disputes. It sounds like we're in the middle of one.
I feel like this touches on a little bit deeper seated issue. There's people who move here, and God bless them, they discovered how beautiful this place is, but we lost Amador Avenue, which the entire county used as access to Dubuque Lake, and somebody moved here and closed it off, and now we have a fire road between Surrey Junction, which is the only egress out of the back of Surrey Junction and out of the back of Tanyard, and somebody moved here and had no idea the history of it and tried to close it. And I think that leads to some pretty severe neighbor issues. And I think if we don't sort of demand neighborliness out of those who move here, to treat those with respect who are already here, then we're going to be in this spot a lot.
And a point of clarification too, is it the back road or back road?
Well, I refer the back road, but somebody told me we weren't allowed to use the word the.
Okay.
Back road. I mean, that's part of the old highway. I don't know if you're familiar with the roadside rest that used to be down there. They closed that off, and it was converted back to the property owners. And like I explained to him when he first moved in, I said, it's up to us to maintain that back road. Because even when we first moved in, I had a hard time with the county. You got to go to the state, the state's got the county, and then other issues came in play, they finally called us together as homeowners and say, well, we're abandoning the road. So, and that's how we got there. And as far as we know, there was never a name issued over the 50 years, as well, the back road.
Yeah.
So,
And your other neighbors, I'm not sure if anybody else is here, are there consensus on the naming of the road at all, or?
I'm sorry?
I'm not sure if your other neighbors are here. Is there consensus on the naming of the road with your other 3 neighbors, I guess?
I apologize. I
Sorry,
got
my voice. I'll talk like this, but to help. Your other neighbors, the other 2 neighbors, do they have any consensus on that?
No, and here's why. My property coming off the highway is right there. And I had to when we built the house, cut the bank to bring the driveway in. And same way with Mr. Jones. The other 2 houses in between, their interest comes right off the highway.
Oh, God, okay, all right.
So there's only, out of the 4 pieces of property, he's at the far end, at the beginning, we're the only one that using that back road.
Okay. Thank you.
Other than get a visitor now and then to.
You're fine.
Okay?
I got a question for, is there any legal reason you have to notify him, Greg?
Steve, does surveying has a process? Is that correct?
Well, usually when the road gets named and the addresses have to change, they are sent a letter stating the road been named, and, you know, this is your new address. The ones, basically it's north and south on that road, so the 2 that are going to access off of that road, the back road, the Bright Feather, will have their address changed to an odd number from an even number.
So were they not
that's
oh, sorry.
when they're notified. I am now sending out, when we go to name a road anyway, and before, if somebody else comes in, I am now sending letters out to the property owners, informing them of the situation and giving them an estimated board date hearing. So they are currently being notified.
So just to
Did
go
it
back.
happen in this case?
Well, this was done back when Roger was here, and I don't think
No, you can't
anybody
find any
received it. Even the Howes have not received the letter of an address change.
Is that because their address is actually Highway 88? Is that why they maybe didn't receive?
Well, it's gonna
notification?
have to change to an even number from an odd. No, an odd number from the even, because they're coming off on the other side of the road, so.
So there's a streets and highways state law provision that it doesn't require specific notice mailed to, it just talks about when the Board of Supervisors is going to name or rename a road that's not a county-maintained public road. And it just says, notice of such hearing shall be given by posting the notice in 3 places along the street or streets proposed to be affected. It doesn't talk about required mailing to affected homes, but if there's no record of the posting being done, it's hard to say what happened.
Did you see, were there things posted on the road?
Pardon me?
Was there anything posted on your road that said the name of the road would change?
We're in and out of there, and then my neighbor, Mr. Jones, they're all, because he has kids go to school and work, and there's constantly traffic on their part. I'm a homebody, but I try to keep track of who comes down the road, or you wouldn't believe the trash picked up, but no, as far as notification. But even I'm not sure about referring to the numbers. I've even had police officers stop and looking for different numbers. The numbers down there are just, they don't make sense. So I don't know if they're jumping across the road at 40-acre parcels and then jumping back. I don't know how that odd and even, I just know my number.
All right. Thank you, sir. I think that's all the questions we had.
Do I need to sign this?
Please, if you would.
Thank you.
Thanks for reminding me. or you're one of the affected neighbors? Yeah, please come forward.
I am James W. Jones. I live at 9209 Bright Feather Road. I had a brief discussion with Mrs. Howe about naming the back road. Her initial response is that they wanted it to stay the same. They wanted it to have no name. They just always thought it was the back road, regardless of how it affected me at the end of the road. My next move was to go to the survey department and just see what they say, because I don't believe that one neighbor should speak for everybody. The survey department showed me the forms to fill out, what to pay, and to go through the legal process, and I did all that. I had talked to Sheila a little bit, and I'd only put one name down for the road name, and it was my lady's Native American name given to her by her grandfather, who passed away. But we had an amazing amount of difficulties having anybody find us. I couldn't receive mail because I didn't really live on any road per se. My address was posted as Highway 88, but it just led to the middle of a field where nobody could find me, including emergency services if it was necessary. And my immediate neighbor had an issue with that without having a cross street to identify, as her husband died in her house, and she had to hang red flashing lights on her railing to be found by emergency services, and he did not survive. So what I've done here is I have an updated petition here from the other two houses. There's 4 total, so I have updated petitions here. And they have initialed the original survey approval document. To the best of my understanding, this does constitute a 75% majority vote to leave the road named as Bright Feather. I printed out 5 copies. I didn't think I needed more. Would you?
Yeah. We'll hand them out.
I'm not sure about the notification processes. I've never named a road before. But I'm finally receiving mail now. We can be identified on even Google Maps. And we prefer to leave it alone. So that's 3 of the 4 homeowners on the road have updated the petition and initialed the survey approval document to leave it as Bright Feather Road. Yeah.
Any other questions, Supervisor? Mr. Jones? All right. Well, if we don't have any questions, we'll continue on. Any other public comment on this? All right.
Would you like me to sign this also?
Yes.
Please, yes.
Your other, operator does hand up.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I didn't see. Yeah, give him that. All right, any other public comment? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll close the public comment. Bring it back to the board.
We need to do a motion, don't we?
Yep. Well, we can adopt or reject the change road name resolution.
Well, we need to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Oh, yes, we do.
So I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
Thank you, Supervisor. We have a second?
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Brown, second by Supervisor Cornell to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Now we're back for the suggested action.
We got a coin.
Pardon?
A coin?
That was one of my notes.
Yeah.
No, I had a question, I was looking at what all the names and signatures on this. It says road name application for a new road name or change of road name. Hereby request change the above road to proposed name. I guess that. I guess the cover sheet goes with it, where they had initialed.
Yeah. I had to look at that too.
No, originally, until they brought forward the three signatures, I was thinking about asking Mr. Jones and Mr. Howell if we could flip a coin, but if you got 3 out of the 4 wanting to change the name, it changed it a little bit. I think it could have probably been handled better on Mr. Jones's part. I don't see a real good solution, but we have to do a solution.
Right. There was a mention of public safety and to be able to identify the property that we need to consider. One of our job is public safety.
The process of settling on some different name would be months and months and months, I'm assuming. And in that time, mail, public safety, all of that suffers.
Yeah, this is in your district?
What's that?
This in your district?
No, this is yours.
Oh, no, it's yours.
My district,
It's yours. It's on the line.
it's right, yeah,
This
it's
is
right on the line there, I believe. It's right-
Near Hurricane Hill.
looking it up there. It's right there.
You know, I had a question, but I guess, this was done before the road name was changed, I guess, then? It's February 25th, 2025?
Pardon, what was that? I heard a comment. Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I know it.
by Strumfels there. Yeah. That's the stuff the way that it is.
Starting off with a tough one, Kelly.
Yep.
Well,
I got a Rotary meeting at 5.
all right, well,
It's in your district, Dan.
it is in my
For
district.
Governor Epperson.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, majority has the opinion. It's already been done. It's gonna cost us a bunch of money. For all those reasons, I'm content with the way it is right now.
Was that your motion?
Do we need a motion on, if it dies for lack of a motion, or?
Well, it could that way, but you could make a motion to deny the road change name.
Okay.
The
Leave
road name
Bright
change.
Feather as it is.
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we leave it as it is.
Second?
All right, we had a motion by Supervisor Epperson, a second by Supervisor Brown to leave the name as Bright Feather Road. Assessed with parcel book 11, page 16. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Begrudgingly.
Motion carries 5-0. Okay, thank you all for your input. 3B is another public hearing. Surveying Department for an easement, abandonment, and certificate of merger. Steve, you're up again.
Steve Zanetta, interim county surveyor. Yeah, this is another one down in Comanche, where they're proposing to merge two of the lots down there. The house basically sits on one lot, and I guess they've got some stuff on the other lot, and just want to merge them, so.
We've done these before.
Yeah, and no negative comments have come back from anyone.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing. Do we have anyone who wants to speak on this?
Motion to close?
Second.
All right, we had a motion by Supervisor Ornetto, a second by Supervisor Brown to close the public hearing on, and we'll bring it back to the board. I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to adopt the resolution?
Second.
All right. Again, Supervisor Ornetto was the first and Cornell was second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. 3C is the surveying department. You might just stand up there for request to hold a public hearing regarding an abandonment of a public easement as requested by Stephen W. Weston and Mary J. It said abandonment along Meadowcrest Drive and Happy Lou Lane.
Steve Zanetta, interim county surveyor. Yeah, this is another merger. The owners purchased a small parcel of land that was the water agent, probably the county before that, but water agency owned it, and they want to merge it into the subdivision lot off of Happy Lou. There was some easements there. The easement's been abandoned, and they also dedicated another little portion in order to provide a good easement flow from the back of the subdivision out to the street, so. And again, there's no negative comments have come back on this merger.
Okay. We'll open the public hearing on this easement request. Any comment on this? Seeing none, hearing none? Entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Move.
Second?
All right. We had a motion by Supervisor Brown, a second by Supervisor Ornetto to close the public hearing on the Weston merger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Now back to the question.
I'll move to approve.
Thank you, Supervisor Epperson.
Second.
Second by Supervisor Brown. Excuse me. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, we're on to 3D. Planning. Consideration of the Planning Commission's recommendation to approve a request for zone change from R1-B3 Single Family Resident, 40,000 square foot minimum zoning district to the R1A Single Family Residential and Ag District for one parcel at plus 24 acres in size to allow for a broader range of uses that are permitted within the R1A district for APN number 031030001.
Good morning, Nicole Shepard with the Planning Department. This project was reviewed by the Technical Advisory Committee on February 5th and March 5th, 2026. TEC forwarded the project to the Amador County Planning Commission with no technical objections to the project as proposed. The Planning Commission reviewed the project during its regular meeting on May 12th, 2026, and recommended approval of the project to the Board of Supervisors, subject to the mitigation measures and findings included in the staff report. The Planning Commission also recommended approval of the mitigated negative declaration as the appropriate document under CEQA. If the board moves to approve the project, the findings included in the staff report are also recommended for adoption.
Okay.
Did they insinuate what they plan on doing?
That might be able to best be answered by the project applicant. He is present if you would like to.
All right, we'll open the public hearing.
One technical, what does B3 stand for, R1, B3?
That is the 40,000 square foot minimum parcel size.
Okay.
You're gonna come and speak to this, sir?
Yes, I'm Mike Yarosa, I'm the property owner, and we just plan on just possibly planting fruit trees and things like that, just for the property, and then just want to rezone it for property values to also, and to kind of have freedom to do some other things there.
Okay.
You talked about a proposed range too?
Yeah.
What do you, I mean, I'm a gun guy, so.
Just a shooting range, just the wife can practice her gun.
Yeah, the reason I was asking, because some of these people, hey, I like shooting. Some of these people get kind of nuts on it though sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, that's all we're planning on doing, just have freedom to do what we want to do with our land.
So this isn't for a commercial enterprise of any kind?
No.
Yeah. Just respect the neighbors a little bit.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And yeah, I have a kind of a technical question too. I noticed that with the county, the distance to shoot from a house is like 500 feet without permission. The state is 450. I'm not sure if that's is that the actual county rule, or does that come from a state law? Do we know? Or I'm sorry, maybe a side combo there, but I was just curious.
Yeah, no, that is true. That's true. 500 feet. We're aware of that.
Caught my attention.
Yeah.
And then your neighbor, I guess you have plenty of setbacks according to the documentation.
Correct. Yeah, we got plenty of setback for it. 24 acres.
There's a piece of property on Hale and somebody put a shooting range. It's got plenty of distance, but the neighbors listen just all day long, all day, every day, and it sounds like it's 2 feet away because it's coming straight up the hill to them, so.
Yeah, the topography is huge when it comes to that kind of thing.
Yeah, but it'd be just for us. I mean, there would be like a whole bunch of people coming in. So
Okay.
Our private use only.
All right.
Yeah, nothing like that.
All right, thank you for your input.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Good to see you.
Any public comment? Seeing none, hearing none?
Move to close public hearing?
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Brown, second by Supervisor Cornell to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We'll bring it back to suggested action is approval of zone change ordinance findings and CEQA mitigated negative declaration.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
And that's with the findings in CEQA?
Yes.
Findings 1 through 7?
Okay, we had a motion by Supervisor Brown, second by Supervisor Epperson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much. 3E is the Planning Department, consideration of the Planning Commission's recommendation to approve a variance from the side 5-foot yard setback requirement to to allow construction of a carport 3 feet from the side property line for APN 030-340-002.
Good morning, Nicole Shepherd with the Planning Department. This project was reviewed by the Technical Advisory Committee on April 16th, 2026, and TAC forwarded the project to the Amador County Planning Commission with no technical objections to the project as proposed. The Planning Commission reviewed the project during its regular meeting on May 12th, 2026, and recommended approval of the project to the Board of Supervisors, along with the CEQA exemption under Section 15305, Class 5 of the state CEQA guidelines. Minor setback variance not resulting in the creation of any new parcel. If the board moves to approve the project, the findings included in the staff report are also recommended for adoption.
Okay. We'll open up public comment on this.
Public hearing?
Public hearing. Any comments from anyone? Seeing none, hearing none? I'd entertain a motion to close.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Carnell to close the public hearing, seconded by Supervisor Epperson. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Now call for the question.
Make a motion to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation to approve a variance, including findings and CEQA.
I'll second.
All right. We had a motion by Supervisor Carnell and a second by Supervisor Brown to approve the variance findings and CEQA categorical exemption. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 3F is planning again. Consideration of the Planning Commission's recommendation to approve a zone change, ZC 26-3-2, and amendment to California Land Conservation Act, Contract 289, vicinity above plus 42 acres, which includes the zone change of A plus 1.31 acres from R1A, single-family residential and ag, to AG, exclusive agriculture.
Krista Russell with the Planning Department. So, as far as this application, it's essentially taking an existing Williamson Act contract that was previously surrounded a small parcel that encompassed the barn, and then removing that R1A zoning district from that barn and dissolving that boundary. So essentially absorbing that barn property into the larger Williamson Act property. There was a boundary line adjustment that previously had designated an area that's already in the Williamson Act currently as that has a house on the northern end. So that would become a separate parcel, and then both parcels are going to continue to be enrolled in the Williamson Act. The applicant is present if there are any questions, but overall, this is an administrative action, just cleaning up some of those boundaries resulting from that boundary line adjustment.
The property in question is surrounded by this zoning. The property in question is completely surrounded.
Yeah, so it's a Williamson Act property zoned exclusive agriculture, and then there's an island within that has the barn. That's R1A. So it's eliminating that island essentially.
It's kind of a cleanup.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, and I guess the Planning Commission did review this application in May, and they recommended approval of the amended contract, the zone change eliminating that R1A zoning district, and the proposed exemption under CEQA.
All right. We'll open the public hearing on this one. Anyone care to comment on it? Like you said, it looks pretty administrative, so.
Motion to close?
Second.
All right, we had a motion by Supervisor Oneto, a second by Supervisor Carnell to close the public hearing, and now we'll call for the question.
I would make a motion to approve the zone change ordinance, Williamson Act contract amendment resolution, findings and CEQA categorical exemption.
Second?
Best motion yet.
Yes, that's motion enough. Motion by Supervisor Cornell, second by Supervisor Onetto. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Planning Department, 3G. Consideration of Amador County.
Just to be clear, we did vote on the closing of the hearing too.
We did, yeah.
Okay, very good,
did.
okay. All right, it's okay. I'm sorry. I thought we did.
You want to slow down a little bit?
No, I'm fine. I'm just like
Well,
trying to keep.
I think if we record that, we didn't actually vote to close.
That's what I was
think-
saying. That was my point, yeah, I think, yeah.
Recommendation to approve zoning ordinance amendment, ZOA 25-9-3, amending county code sections, blah, blah, to establish permitted and conditional use regulations for agritourism events, promotions, and related activities in the R1A, A, and AG zoning districts.
Krista, again, from the Planning Department. I was gonna say this one might slow you guys down a little bit. This is a continuation of a previous discussion the board had regarding amendment of current agricultural codes to potentially amend the zoning district regulations within R1A, A, and AG to allow for limited agritourism operations in support of existing agriculture throughout the county. Included is also an elimination of some of the language, I guess, gatekeeping single-family residences from residences. And then just some clarifying language regarding agritourism and farm stays. So in March, the board requested clarification on some of the definitions of farm stays and parameters for scalable restrictions to limit development, which would accompany increased uses through agritourism. That definition has been included in the proposed ordinance change. And then there was some exploratory language added to this draft ordinance regarding increasing the by right limitations for guests from 25 to 50, and then some parameters for determining whether or not agritourism operations would be subject to obtaining a use permit, whether that be a ministerial use permit or a discretionary use permit that would be issued from the Planning Commission. As far as staff goes, I was wondering if it'd be possible to get some clarification as to, I guess, the board's leaning of whether or not ministerial use permits or discretionary use permits are the current leaning, because currently, as it's stated in the draft ordinance, it's kind of saying by right as one category, and then use permit as another category, not specifying whether or not that's ministerial or discretionary. Other than that, I did speak with council, and there was a note that the section under 19.24.037B12, more specifically the section under, I believe it's the A district, we did not change it from 25 to 50. That was an error. So essentially the change from 25 to 50 for the limitation of guests by right would apply to all different ag zonings. Other than that, I guess we are here if you have any questions, but have at it.
All right, we'll open the public hearing. Do you have any comments on this?
Hi, Sherry Curtis. I'm confused. I want to know if this change includes low-impact camping for agritourism purposes. Would those parcels that be changed, would it include low-impact camping? And does our county have a low-impact camping ordinance on the books now? And or is this part of making a low-impact camping ordinance, slipping it in under this title? So I was hoping maybe some clarification.
Greg? Oh, here we
So the draft Krista from planning. The draft before you today, it does include the definition of farm stays, and that is included under what would be determined as a use that would require a use permit. Whether or not that would be a ministerial use permit or discretionary use permit is up for debate currently, but that's just how it's proposed currently. And then I know that farm stay, well, dude ranches and guest recreation and boarding is currently a discretionary use within the AG district, but not within the R1A, or I believe it is in A as well, so I'm not sure. I'd have to confirm that by looking at the code, but it's addressed in AG for sure.
So we're talking
You're
about
saying-
overnight stays.
Didn't you exclude camping? Didn't you exclude camping from the, what's allowed?
It's excluded from what would be allowed by right
Right.
in all zoning
I
districts.
think that
Right.
was their question.
But yeah, there is, I guess, an avenue to include it under a discretionary use in R1A, which has previously not been explored, but
So you're asking whether that's something that can be done over the counter or something that has to come through this process?
right.
That's
And
what you're
I
asking
would,
for clarification.
I mean, as far as, in my experience, I would definitely recommend it not be a ministerial use, just because, in general, it's more in-depth as far as potential impacts.
That's what I was worried about. Thank you.
But again, I mean, it's up for,
I have a question on that. So under, the item number 14, it talks about without a use permit being required, farm stays, guest ranches, dude ranches, so that's not like low-impact camping?
okay, I think I did misspeak. So farm stay is in an existing residence.
That's what?
It would be in an existing residence. That would be allowed by right.
Okay.
So camping, I believe, is separately addressed.
Yeah, I was looking
Or
for the
it might not be
definitions
addressed.
page, that's
I'm
what
not sure.
So somebody can stay in your guest bedroom, but they can't put up a tent without some.
Right. It would have to be in a permitted dwelling. Yeah, okay, sorry.
Does that need to be clarified in the documents then, or is that?
Yeah, it was clarified in the documents. That's a new section we added, so that's
Okay.
why I was still thinking a few months ago. But, yeah, so farm stay is specified to be in an existing permitted residence that would be allowed by right for the zoning district. And then any exploration of camping associated with agritourism would have to be separately addressed.
Would have to what?
Be separately addressed. And then if there are additional boarding or amenities that are proposed to be, I guess, included as part of agritourism, in addition to the occupancy of those existing residences, that would be something that would require a discretionary use permit, and that's at least, I know, currently addressed in the AG code as a potential discretionary use. So.
No camping. Summary.
Well, not no camping.
Well,
You just have to get it approved.
permit, correct. Yeah, it'd be a process. No camping, over the counter.
Well, yeah, the law was passed last year to allow low-impact camping, but the county has to have an ordinance in place before they could say, okay, you could use the county's ordinance versus the person would have to go to the state and apply through the state, which was more difficult, I guess. So that's why the state made a law change. This is my understanding, that if the county provided their own ordinance, which a number of counties have done, then they would rule if somebody could have low-impact camping. There could only be 9 spots. And then there's other rules that they'd still have to comply with the state law, but you couldn't do any less than what the state wanted. You could do more. Is that still confusing?
No.
Yeah. So I've been trying to find out, do we have a low-impact ordinance established now?
We don't have a current code that addresses it, and this proposed ordinance does not address it either. So it would have to be something, I think, explored at a separate.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir?
morning, governors or supervisors or whatever I'm to call you. Ryan Kramer, I'm a second-gen wine grape farmer here in Amador County. And I just urge you all to vote affirmative on this. I think it'll be really great for, you know, singular producers like us, as well as the county at large, generating tourism. You know, the changes that we saw from last time are the upping it to 50 and then the definitions that Krista explained. I think the only thing I'm curious about now, listening to this hearing, is the difference between the discretionary versus ministerial special use permits. That would be a question, but other than that, you know, relatively happy with the findings and just open for an affirmative vote from you all. That's about it. So I don't know if you all can answer the question or Krista needs to come back up.
I can just clarify. So ministerial would be over-the-counter permit. Discretionary would require a public hearing and review by planning commission or board.
Thanks for saying that. I was worried, I wanted to say something, but I didn't want to sound dumb.
I'll do it. I'll do it for you anytime.
You'll do it for me.
Krista, I have a question. It's talking about amending section 19.24.045C by adding agritourism permit already without a use permit required. In there, it's got 1 acre in size, at least 1 acre in size, and it's got arena events, roping, horse shows, rodeos, herding competitions. I'm having a little bit of heartburn over that. Just 1 acre is pretty small. I got a ranching background. I'm kind of going, I don't see any, if I was a neighbor next to 1 acre parcel in 1 acre parcels, I don't know if I'd want to have a rodeo or a arena event right next to me. And I'm a ranch guy. Just, that's, I guess, how I'm wondering about the 1 acre on that.
Arena wouldn't be very big.
I think there was concern, and when we were originally discussing this, if not, I mean, there's this balance of walking where we're trying not to just make an opportunity for those who have to have more and those who have not to have no opportunity, and so limiting property size, that's the...
Well, I get that, but my question is, if we put this in place and somebody starts so we put this ordinance in place and people start doing these activities, and if we start having problems, can we say, hey, you can't do that? Or is it now a by right and they came in under the ordinance and we can no longer stop that activity?
It most likely would be a grandfathered use. Let's say you change the zoning to say, no, it's 5 acres is the minimum now, or some 10 or whatever. For as long as that use continued uninterrupted on that 1 acre piece, it would technically be allowed.
Are there provisions that can be put in that that it could become discretionary, that the loss of this right based on, I don't know, its effect on the neighbors or what's
Abuse.
It's in? Abuse, there, yeah.
I mean, it would basically be handled in the way any nuisance conditions would be, but from what Greg is saying, there's not, I mean, partially in part of the ag operations code saying that if this is adopted, it would be considered part of the ag operations, so nuisance conditions would have to be, I guess, vetted through the lens of understanding that there are agricultural uses that are going to be taking place on the property. As far as determining the parameters, the 1 acre was just an example. Staff was advised to just, you know, kind of spitball, and throw something out there. That would certainly be.
It's kind of hard to legislate common sense, but I'm thinking of a horse rescue operation that I think is real detrimental to neighbors. You're probably very familiar with it.
I think she moved away, but
No.
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 It's not the only one. There's another one. It's not a rescue, but shares a back fence with about 10 properties, and the back fence is the back of the stalls for all the horses. So the horses are literally leaning against the neighbors' fences, and most of them have moved because of the flies and such. This is in a small neighborhood too, so I hear you.
I don't mind opening things up so young people, old people, whatever, can do kind of their dream, make some money or be happy. I just have real heartburn about when you do something, if you can't pull it back, that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it always comes back to code enforcement, so.
It's a process. Yeah, it's a
Board
problem there.
could add more, make it more complicated, add more layers.
Yeah.
right? So some of these uses could go down to an acre, but others would require more space.
That, I think that too, setbacks also might be an issue where we could increase the setbacks. I mean, some of these, you know, in that 1 acre, if you had a horse show or an arena event, I mean, I don't know where you'd park anybody. I mean, I don't know how you'd do it. You'd have to be, I don't know who would pay to have I don't know. It'd just be very complicated. 1 acre, I mean, heck,
I don't think it'd work.
I don't think so. I think your buck and shoot, you'd probably end on the neighbor's property if you got bucked off. But, I mean, I think setbacks and probably property size might need to be looked at a little bit with some of the events, obviously. I mean, with horse arenas, you're gonna have dust and noise, which that's part of the deal, but if it's impacting your neighbors, and I don't wanna get into an administrative thing where we give them free reign, so to speak, and then we have to come and try to bringing it back, and then dealing with some of the other issues with neighbor conflicts. I mean, it just goes on. It takes a year and a half or two to get through this stuff. By then, it's just expensive and it's not very helpful. Trying to that balance that between give people freedom to enjoy their property and make a few bucks if they need to, and then how do we mitigate the impacts of the neighbors? I think that's kind of the challenge here.
If the board wants to go through those, because that list of uses is just carried through all of the zone districts, so if you wanted to go through those uses and say, this could be an acre, this should be more, and just go through it, then staff could rewrite it in a way that it's sort of differentiated, if you wanted to do that.
Well, I think really the only one in there that really stands out is the arena events, in my humble opinion. Education, gardens, farms, all that kind of stuff. You can easily have a nice little garden on a farm and have a couple people over and pick some tomatoes. But if you look at the arena events, roping horse shows, rodeos, that's I don't know what size would be appropriate, but you could do it on an acre, but it would be more impactful.
Supervisor Onetto, being a ranch guy, would you be happier if it was 5-acre parcels?
I'd be happier if there's a way there being bad neighbors to pull it back.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm thinking like, I know some people, Garfinkel's over in Plymouth, they do stuff and their neighbor's a little ways away, but they run a pretty good operation, no problems. And I know some other ones that are fairly large acreage and maybe they put their horses right up against a neighbor's house and say they don't like that neighbor, so.
Yeah.
Couldn't we do it with a use permit then?
We could, but that gets expensive. That's where I'm struggling with that.
Yeah, I get that, but.
That's where it'd be nice if, if you have a problem, you could just say, hey, there may not be a real good vehicle way to do that, looking at county council.
Gives your neighbors power too. This is,
yeah.
Are we trying to legislate integrity somehow? I feel like that's
Yeah,
what we're
I think so.
Good luck.
The only thought would be to make it a use permit, but not a full planning commission use permit, sort of a staff issued permit that has criteria and could be revoked if there were violations.
I think the one there, ICF, again, I think that's the only one that probably would require a little, either, I don't know, increased setbacks or increased acreage.
I think what Greg just said might be the answer.
Right. Yeah.
And a lot of these things, I don't worry too much about them, like, they're pretty innocuous. It's just when you start getting animals and dust and smell, you kind of can't avoid that.
Well, and most of these things too be looking like, there'd be more daytime-ish type things. The overnight stuff would be, probably obviously go on in the evening, but it wouldn't be like a ton of people. I mean, you can only fit so many folks in the barn house, so.
Could we maybe make items 1 and item 6, maybe that staff issued ministerial use permit or whatever, like conditional use permit? I think you called it, Greg.
Krista, do you have thoughts on that? Is it workable?
I mean, we can definitely put something together. I was going to say, so for reference, a lot of what we deal with as far as people determining, parameters for what's, I guess, impacts they would have to neighbors, we determine based on if they're going to be inviting the public onto the property. That's one of them, but obviously all of this is going to be inviting the public. And then I was going to say, a lot of it is just, we do already get animal complaints, and livestock complaints. The code as it is currently is that animals can go up to the fence. Any enclosed pens need to be set back 25 feet, or pens, paddocks, stables, that kind of thing. But obviously that doesn't help when you have people that are running pigs on their entire property. So,
Yeah, it just seems like when it gets commercial, you get more activity, or it gets kind of spirals.
yeah, the way
More.
ministerial permits are currently processed essentially is if somebody is in violation, they are either in danger of losing their permit, or they could appeal whatever decision to the planning commission. So that's kind of how it is currently for, obviously we don't have any ministerial permits for these kinds of uses. I guess one other note I wanted to make is that in the agritourism definition, I know you guys were saying specifically the arena events were the one that was primarily the concern. It is not a super strict definition of what agritourism events would be allowed by right. So there's a lot of such as, so I mean, someone could very easily come in and say, it's not an arena event, it's a horses running around and we all watch it event. You know, so I mean, yeah, we don't have an arena, you know, so.
Can we do this something that has to be renewed annually, and that could fix the problem?
You can put time limits on use permits.
Do a ministerial use permit that's relatively inexpensive, and then you just have to renew it annually, and if there's been no, and then if for some reason we don't renew it, they have an appeal process before the board to renew it.
That'd work.
Yeah.
As long as it's inexpensive to renew it, I don't want it to be $1 million every year.
That'd only be like, probably like items 1 and 6. That's like hay rides, sleigh wagon rides, pony rides, arena events, roping, horse shows, rodeo, herding competitions.
And that's for the category 0 through 50 on an acre.
Or more, yeah.
But the rest of it stays. So if it's over 50 or
Yeah.
smaller than an acre, you'd need a use permit, period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd feel more
You like
comfortable.
that?
Yeah, I mean, currently we have, I think only one type of ministerial use permit is renewable. I think it's the farm labor quarter, the quarter, or I think, was it caretaker quarters, stuff like that.
This is one where the county could say no.
And
Yeah, and I mean, they could always appeal that to the planning commission, and they could appeal that to the
fine.
board. So, I mean,
Can there be language in it that it's renewed every year solely for this purpose, just so that the community has a chance to weigh in on their activities? Something along those lines? The neighbors?
Yeah, so the renewal would be if there haven't been complaints or something. I'm sure we could work something, but.
are you guys thinking 1 year?
Yeah.
Okay. So essentially it'd be a ministerial use permit, right? For 1 year sunset, and then they can reapply. And just for anyone in the audience, our ministerial use permits for planning, it's $125. So that's for,
Yeah.
yeah.
That gives us that, you know, if something's going wrong, we can fix it.
Yeah.
A thought I'm having with the arena thing specifically on 1 acre, you know, the by right is 50 people or less, and I'm like kind of ignorant to how arena events go and rodeos and whatnot. I don't think I've ever been to one, but I imagine they're always way more than 50 people, and so that would probably be a way, as it's written now, like, you know, adding these changes, great, but as it's written now, that would probably be a way for like neighbors to stop if it's bothersome, is like, hey, they're having way more than 50 people at this 1 acre parcel and they're doing these arena events. You know, that's something currently baked in as an idea. And the idea, Supervisor Oneto, that you can't legislate common sense, like who would on their 1 acre parcel like build a stadium?
Might be surprised.
How long have you been here?
Yeah, not long enough.
I think of one
apparently,
location, not around here.
but just, you know, if it would just be something that could be stopped if it's obviously built for more than 50 people, or they're having more than 50 people events than that. And if they have a bigger parcel, they'd have to apply for a special use permit to have more than 50 people at their arena event. Just as an idea, but.
No, there's jackpot roping things that there could be 20, 30 kids doing that. It's possible that it could happen on a very small piece of property with a small amount of people.
I had another question. So were you guys wanting to have some language for setbacks?
I mean, like, kind of the double-edged sword there is that if you've got animals, no setbacks, you've got your grass mowed down, so your fire risk is reduced. That's my thought there.
Setbacks are dangerous.
Yeah,
I
they
think
are.
we have a pullback way that would solve all
Yeah,
that.
I think that's fine. I'm happy with that, yeah.
Fine. So I have 1-year ministerial use permit for events that include wheeled vehicles, rides, or intense livestock uses.
And then one small thought that it can be rejected, but if you've already had it for the year, you've had no complaints, and you have to go renew it each year, could there be, like, your first time ministerial permit's 125, but renewal is a different cost, a lesser cost, so you're not paying $125 every year for the same thing?
I'd be fine with that.
And that's how it works with, like, contractor's licenses and all that kind of stuff. Your first time is the most expensive.
I'm not comfortable making a call on any of the price aspect of it.
Oh, I was-
That's above my pay grade. But
I don't have a problem with what you're proposing.
Just so, like half or something, well, half would be a very odd number, but.
I mean, I was gonna say also, if someone had a permit with no complaints of a year, they could also look into making the next permit last longer.
Yeah,
That's an alternative as well.
Yeah. I'd rather just reduce the price
Fair enough.
to $50 each subsequent year, because all the same information's gonna be on the same thing. It'll be faster for staff and everything to just renew the permit, I think.
Well, I think the fee currently is just based off our hourly rate.
Right.
I don't know. I
So
mean,
it'd be less hours to renew one, because you already have all the information in place.
Would it be less hours, I guess, is the question, I guess.
probably not. I mean, it's new. The way that it is currently, essentially, they have to still fill it out. We still have to send notice. I mean,
$100. Take 25 off.
well, they go up every year too, so.
Yeah.
But it's only, I think, 2%.
$100 this year.
I don't know. I mean, again, that's another thing we would have to track, so maybe that would take more staff.
I think I try to
energy
keep it
track
simple.
that.
If you're going from 125 to 100, it's gonna.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Thanks for at least listening to my ideas.
Thanks for your input. Now we're gonna move
All right, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
on. All right, we have someone,
Yeah, thank you, board.
all right. Jamie, you've been waiting patiently.
Hi, Jamie Lebanco. A standard roping arena takes 1.03 acres of land. So I think that answers part of that question. I think if you do a smaller roping arena, that would be 89, but anything below that would not be probably usable for these types of events. So I think a roping event or some type of a rodeo event on 1 acre is actually not plausible. I don't know where you would park your trucks and trailers. Anyways, I just thought I would bring that up. And then I apologize, I appear as if I'm on my cell phone, but my internet will not connect. So I was wondering if you had a physical copy of the items in this, on this agenda item.
Here you go, Jamie.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I was trying to follow it on my phone, and then I felt like I was a teenager sitting in the back of the room on my phone, and I didn't want to be rude.
Okay.
Photograph memory, right?
Perfect.
50 people, Sherry Curtis again, 50 people coming to 1 acre. Where are the parking of the trucks and or cars going to be for a 1 acre parcel?
I think it's
Is
just,
there a requirement that they have to be on the property or on the major road, private or public?
I think geography is going to limit it. I think we're just making a smaller piece of property just to not exclude people from geography is going to limit the number of people on very small pieces of
I mean, if
property.
you had a school bus full of kids parked in the driveway, 50 kids,
Get out, pick boysenberries and go home.
Because some of the ag definitions are saying they have to have parking on their property. So wouldn't that be a requirement also for a 1 acre? Why would you have 2 different requirements or applications? This is where it gets very confusing. you know, what's good for Joe should be good for Marty too. So, anyway.
That's why we're looking for a way to pull it back if it goes wrong. But I don't want only people that own 500 acres to have the right to do something, and people who
Well,
can't
I know,
afford
but
500
maybe there's
acres
a
can't do
limit to
anything.
how many people you can park and have your arena or your, whatever you're doing. It should be some correlation of what you're going to do versus how many people can be there. I know it's confusing. But if you've got all the cars that are going to take up your neighbors' parking spots along their road, or what? Especially on the narrow roads.
Mr. Baracco.
Morning, Board. Craig Baracco, Foothill Conservancy. All legislation is sort of striking a balance for things, and generally speaking, we make things more complicated as we try and strike more balances. It's just sort of an inevitable outcome of the process as we try and address different possibilities and weigh and balance different interests. I think one thing we'd just like to renew the commitment to have, and our recommendation, I know it's been in the current draft sort of open-ended, is to, once we get above 50 people for an event, the type of discretionary approval, I think a full discretionary use permit, one that goes to the Planning Commission, has full notice to the neighbors. The most useful thing about this is that it allows us a lot of flexibility in reviewing projects. It allows us flexibility with conditions of approval. The sequel review reveals any potential issues as far as parking, noise, smells, all the rest, water and water usage, sewage disposal, all of that can be checked off, and we can, ensure that there aren't impacts to neighbors or to the general community. It also allows us to allows us more flexibility as far as things, setting like times of operation, ensuring that there's adequate parking.
I think we have that if it goes over 50 people, right,
50.
Krista?
Yep, and at this, so it's, when things get smaller, and the number is sort of shifted around between 25 and 50, at what point we wanna add, sort of more, where we wanna draw the line between allowed by right without discretionary review, or, allow sort of a counter permit that still allows us to say, review the site plan, see that there's adequate room for what's being proposed. And, that number's moved around a bit as far as 25 or 50.
It was based off the size of a second grade class, and because we have overcrowding in our schools, we want the entire second grade class to be able to go pick boysenberries.
Both Mrs. Johnson's and Mrs. Smith's classes can go.
Correct.
Can go at the same time for the boysenberry picking.
Yes.
So, and as long as, in the that'll be an application that the county staff can see and review and see that the site's up to it and that there's adequate, parking and facilities and whatnot. But as long as I think the full use permit requirement though for our larger events is fairly key here to make sure that we're striking the right balance and that neighbors have their say and there's adequate environmental review on these projects. That would be my main point here. Anything else? Sorry. Guess I'll have to go back to the wedding question because this was discussed at the last meeting about explicitly adding weddings to the list of allowed uses. It's not included in the current draft, and I just wanted to clarify that we're taking that out. Is this a deliberate decision, or what the status of that part is? I can take my answer offline for that.
Okay. I don't know, we purposely excluded it.
Wedding berry picking, I don't know.
They're both fruitful, or can be.
I can tell you it wasn't staff's decision to include or not include it. I think it might have just been not addressed. So I remember the conversation with it, but I don't remember what the final say was. If we were determining that to be agritourism or not, I don't even remember.
Yeah, I mean,
It's been a few months.
Same one on the issue. I think, I mean, if you're gonna have a lot of weddings, it'll come up to the attention of the permitting process. I can't imagine I can't imagine there's gonna be a lot of weddings in some of these smaller venues. I mean, I don't think it's gonna turn into that. I mean, how many weddings go on? I do plenty of weddings myself. Could be a problem. I don't think it will be that.
I'd be okay with adding them, but
Yeah.
I think it has to be under a use permit.
Yeah.
If it's a wedding venue.
Yeah.
Wedding venue is another thing.
If it's a personal wedding, I mean, well, we probably wouldn't know about it, probably wouldn't care if somebody had a wedding in their place.
Personal weddings are allowed in any
Right.
zoning district.
Correct,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
That's kind of,
I guess specifically the question is commercial.
Like what Supervisor Cornell said, yeah, if it's a venue, then that's different.
and how's that addressed as far as that wedding venue? They have to apply for permit for that as well, I assume?
So currently, the only way that people can apply for a wedding venue is either located in a commercial district or it be associated with wine making, and they have a licensed permitted winery on site, or with a approved use permit for a bed and breakfast. So there's not a current avenue for people to just have that.
I wouldn't have a problem with having weddings, especially if it's a use permit.
Me neither.
I mean,
Under 50
realistic,
ministerial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it should be
realistically, looking at bringing in 50 people for a wedding versus 50 people for a cattle rope show, there's not any difference
Less
as far
impact,
as
be shorter,
us.
probably quicker, yeah. I'd say add it.
As far as the industry, who knows?
You're right.
Yeah, for sure. We need,
I will say a lot of people that do weddings, a lot of them think, hey, I'm gonna go do this, and they do it for a while, and they say they're done.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I guess one question I have when that comes, though, is a lot of people have concerns about food service at weddings. Is it just the ceremony that you guys are thinking is going to be permitted, or receptions? And if receptions, are you also opening to outside catering coming in?
you don't make nothing easy, do you?
It's my job.
Other areas of the code where we address weddings are pretty highly regulated in terms of amplified music and hours and
Lights.
lighting. If you want to add those criteria, then, or if you want to keep it open, I mean,
I think what Greg's saying, it'd be good to have something. Otherwise,
I
If
wouldn't
you-
mind reflecting it in there. I mean, I know, like, I live probably 5 blocks from wedding venue, and I can tell you who's getting married, just about what's going on. I mean, I can hear it in my backyard every Saturday night till about 10 p.m., because I know all of a sudden the sound gets quiet, but
yeah, I wouldn't mind adding those criteria, for like other areas, and then also just, as long as you have that pullback provision, that's
yeah.
critical.
So just to confirm, so weddings as part of the events that would require a ministerial use permit with specifications as far as parking and
Same
lighting and
specification.
sound and stuff.
Yeah, I would say the
Copy
same.
paste.
It's reflexive of the other parts of the law that allow.
And I might just borrow that from the bed and breakfast code, because I think they
I
have
think
a list of what needs to be specified in the application there. So
Perfect.
I think I might have used that for the template for this draft. too,
Like
so.
that.
Any other comments, public comments?
Oh, go ahead. I have one more question for her when.
Sorry, just a quick question, only because I have had experience with this. If you are going to review applications, especially as it pertains to weddings, weddings are usually booked like 2 years out. And I only say that because my daughter had a wedding on the books, and the facility where she was having her wedding, the city council in Truckee, voted down that venue's ability to continue to have weddings, and there were 9 weddings on the books. And it created a firestorm of really angry families to the city of Truckee. We managed to avoid being one of them, but they pulled my daughter's wedding venue. She was getting married in June, and they pulled it in April. So I just want to tell you, as you're thinking about renewing these things specifically for wedding venues, there's probably going to need to be a larger time frame for that to happen.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other public comment?
Can I ask one more question of you? This ministerial permit has nothing to do with overnight stays at this point, other than in existing residences, correct?
As it's currently written.
That's what I was just making sure that's
No,
what I caught.
I appreciate the clarification, because,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
any camping outside of the existing residence or anything would not be addressed in the current ordinance that we've discussed, or that's before you now.
Just making sure, thanks.
Right. One more.
I'm back. So kind of my one thing that I think about a lot with this and agritourism and trying to figure out number of people and the setbacks issue and whatnot. And like, I hesitated to bringing it up because one, we're going through the very real, wine industry slump right now. And so we're very eager for this to go through so we can start actually getting some supplemental income for our business. But since it seems like it's going to go through it just takes time, and it's no one's fault, but bureaucracy-wise, it takes time to put these things into law. So one thing that we have already in the code is the winery ordinance. It's only for wineries, but I feel like does a really good job of taking into account setbacks and property size and what allowances you get from that. The second reason I hesitate to bring that up is because it also has the preferred roads thing in there, which like us specifically and probably other producers as well are not off of a preferred road, but our road is perfectly, seemingly
You were winning.
Sorry?
You were winning.
I was winning?
You were.
Starting
Cool.
Let's more.
So, yeah, anyways, that's just like one thought when we think about how to redo these things, but just throwing it out there. Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Anyone else?
Move to close the public hearing?
Second.
All right, we had a motion by Supervisor Epperson, a second by Supervisor Cornell to close the public hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Motion carries 5-0. Back to the question.
So I think staff has direction on what to work on and bring back.
For a refined review.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah. There were quite a few questions, yeah. All right, so that'll just be to be continued.
Yep, direction to staff to rework it and bring it back.
Do we want to leave this public hearing open then?
You can, but when we bring it back, we'll reopen it. You can
Okay, so
reopen
there's
it.
really no need to do that.
Yeah. We'll have to re-advertise because we don't know when we'll bring it back yet.
All right, so we're just done with that one for today. All right, 3H is another public hearing, amendments to the ACT Marketing District. Adopt a resolution, and we have some
Thank you
folks
for
who
your
wait.
patience.
Yeah, waited
Patiently
very
waiting.
patiently.
Hopefully this is the last time you guys see me for a while, so for a few years, hopefully.
No, we can continue for a long time.
You just saw us in action, we can drag this out.
Oh, I really hope not. Okay, so we are back requesting amendments to, I'm Laura Waltz with Amador Council of Tourism. And this is George Eckert. He is the chair of the Amador Council of Tourism Board of Directors. We are asking for proposed modifications, clarifying the amount of funds that can be used to reimburse expenses incurred in the formation of the district, the updates to Appendix 2 to include a detailed and comprehensive list of assessed lodging businesses within the district, the addition of Appendix 3, establishing a formal payment and collection policy, and the procedures for collection timelines, delinquency, penalties, interest enforcement, and the addition of procedures for claiming exemptions where applicable. Any more questions? I know we answered some questions the last.
How many exemptions have you guys had applied for?
I
Of
want to
one.
say 6 or 7 probably total
Exemptions, yeah.
requested, and I think,
Only 3 or 4 have been approved.
yeah, a handful of them have not fit the criteria.
Okay. I was just curious. Any other issues with the ones that were denied? Do they have any other fuss? Are they kind of okay with it, or they understand, or
They don't like it, but
Yeah.
I mean, they
they meet the criteria? So yeah.
yeah, I mean, nobody's, I think that we're formalizing in this sort of and we had already included in our plan, but I think we're formalizing it now, like a escalation process, but nobody's actually even tried to take us up on that yet, so.
Yeah, I think what we included was just an opportunity to sort of appeal a decision on an exemption to the board.
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
That language was in there from original.
Yeah.
It's mostly cleanup stuff.
Yeah.
The most important thing for us really is to have an enforcement mechanism in place, because not everybody is complying, and if there's no penalty for not complying, why should they comply? We're actually getting much more compliance from the individual, the mom and pops, the Airbnbs, while some of the larger lodging establishments are just kind of shining us on. So hopefully with these enforcement mechanisms and penalties, we can convince them to do the right thing. I don't believe we have the power to take them to court, but hopefully we can convince them that it's in their best interest to support, because we're supporting them. The whole reason we have this ACT is to support tourism in the county. We bring people in, they rent rooms for the night, and that makes everybody happy, so.
Do you think that's because, like Airbnb, they collected online? I know one of them does, I'm not sure which one.
They're not. We've actually clarified, I believe, that they, well, Airbnb is not remitting the
Right.
TMD. No, I think the real issue is actually that it's not it's a degree of, I don't know, people just, they don't have their act together. It's not actually like they're even fighting us on it. They're just not remitting it because they have to go sign up online, and then they have to do, and so some of the bigger companies are just, I don't know, they haven't done it. And I think if they actually have to pay fines, they'll be like, oh, we should probably just do this.
Push them along.
Yeah, just push them along.
Okay.
Whereas the smaller, the individual owners, they do their own bookkeeping, so they're directly responding to it. There's fewer, like, people involved in the process to get to the person who actually signs the check or remits the payment.
Less bureaucracy.
Yeah, so.
Understand. Thank you.
So who's going to actually, will it be a tourism marketing district that will be doing the collecting?
No, it's HDL. It's the company
the
that we
consultant.
contracted with, and then they will do the, levying of any fines and penalties as well.
And is HDL, are they outreaching the people who have not been paying and say, hey, can we help you sign up? Is that something they do, or is that something?
Yeah, it's something that they actively do, and we've been still doing some of that ourselves to try to, move things along.
Yeah.
But because we have, one of the major issues we've had the whole time with this has been improper mailing addresses or a lack of mailing addresses. And so to some, if we have email information and contact information, we've shared that with the county, and we've shared that with HDL, but there are a lot of properties that the mailing address is the only thing we have, and we hope we have the right one. So that's still like a challenge in terms of getting, but that's more for the Airbnbs, and that's not the bulk of the funds. So honestly, we need the teeth so that people can stop, just taking their time and actually pay what they owe.
So that'll be on top of the 3% then, administrative fee, as far as the collection fees?
The 3% administrative fee is the collection fee. That's the fee that we're paying to HDL.
Yeah, but if they have to go after them,
So they take their contract, if I am remembering it correctly, includes, I think they just like take a percentage of the penalties
The collections.
that come, the penalties as a part of the collection.
Yeah, the further they have to go in terms of collection activities, the higher their percentage would go.
yeah, okay.
Of the penalties.
Of the
Of the
penalty.
penalties, yeah, it's not out of our pockets, it's out of the penalties.
All right.
This basically just summary of the last meeting, when we discussed this last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just asking, we had a time frame to have a public hearing and,
Right, yeah, this is just summary of,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah, the last hearing was the notice of intent, and we had to do the mailings, and this is the adoption.
We'll open the public hearing on this. Any comments from anyone?
Move to close public hearing.
I'll second that.
Right, we had a motion by Supervisor Epperson, a second by Supervisor Cornell to close the public hearing. We'll bring it, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Suggested action is adoption of the resolution.
I would make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Second?
Right, we had a motion by Commissioner Carnell, Supervisor Carnell, Governor Carnell, and a second by Supervisor Brown to adopt the resolution for the amendments to the Amador County Tourism Marketing District. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you all for coming. With that, this meeting is adjourned.